Two breakthroughs, two stories, both pointing to one truth. Humanoid robots are no longer whispers of the future. They are walking into the present, and whether we are ready or not, they are here. One comes in the form of a robot so affordable it feels almost unreal. The other stands in the middle of a city street, calmly directing traffic like it was born to do it. These are not science fiction glimpses. They are happening now, in front of us, quietly shifting what we believe is possible. And this is only the beginning. The shockwave of the R1. The R1 was announced in July 2025, and from the moment its price was revealed, everything felt different. Humanoid robots had always belonged to an exclusive world. They were trophies of research labs built by billion-dollar companies, admired in glossy demonstration videos, but kept far out of reach of ordinary developers. Tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes hundreds of thousands, stood as the barrier to entry. That barrier has now crumbled. The R1 carries a price tag of just $5,900. The number doesn't even sound real when you say it aloud. A true humanoid robot for less than the cost of some laptops and phones. The shock is not only in the affordability, but in what this small, 25-kilogram machine can actually do. The R1 has 26 degrees of freedom, 26 joints moving with a smoothness that feels practiced, not programmed. In demonstrations, it doesn't just stand and wave, it cartwheels. Yes, a humanoid robot with enough balance and agility to flip its body in the air and land upright. For years, engineers struggled to get robots to walk across a room without toppling. Now, a machine light enough to be carried under one arm is casually throwing acrobatics into the mix. The surprises continue. Clips of the R1 show it shadow boxing, ducking, and throwing punches with an eerie sense of rhythm. Nobody expects it to face a real boxer, but that is not the point. The point is that for under $6,000, anyone can now own a robot that moves with more fluidity than many 10 times the price competitors. The weight matters too. At 25 kilograms, the R1 is approachable in a way previous humanoids were not. Earlier Unitree models, like the H1, carried bulk and strength, but also intimidation. The R1 is light enough that one person can reposition it. If it tips over, it is unlikely to break bones or destroy furniture. Its size and design make it less threatening, more experimental, and more suited for small labs, classrooms, and even hobbyist workshops. Then there is the intelligence running through it. The R1's AI is multimodal, which means it processes not just voice, but also vision. You could speak to it, and it would understand your words while also analyzing the environment it sees. Object recognition, gesture tracking, and face identification are all baked into this sub-6K platform. Features that once lived in elite labs are now placed in the hands of developers worldwide. Even its battery design reflects practicality. 1 hour of runtime might not sound like much, but the key lies in its swappable nature. The R1 is not tethered to long charging sessions. Finish one test, switch a battery, and begin another. This is a robot designed for iteration, for repeated use, for the rapid cycle of trial and error that fuels breakthroughs. Unitree has made clear that the R1 is not intended to serve homes or manage warehouses, at least not yet. It is a research platform, a blank canvas for creation. And that clarity reveals the deeper disruption. By cutting costs so dramatically, Unitree has shattered the exclusivity that once surrounded humanoid robotics. Small universities, independent researchers, and even determined hobbyists can now step into the arena. It is not just about what the R1 can do today. It is about what new ideas will be born when thousands more minds have access to embodied AI. What it can and can't do. But to understand the R1's place in history, it is important to face its limits. The R1 is not waterproof. It cannot carry heavy loads. Its hands lack the dexterity needed to fold clothes, cook meals, or manipulate fine tools. You will not see it running obstacle courses, performing backflips, or repairing machinery. These are not flaws, but boundaries. They remind us that the R1 is not a finished assistant. It is a foundation. Compared with its siblings, the advanced H1 and the compact G1, the R1 is stripped back. The H1 pushes speed and strength. The G1 provides a lab-friendly balance of capability. The R1 sacrifices some of these abilities in exchange for accessibility, and it is precisely that exchange which makes it radical. The truth is, the R1 is not meant to impress you with its chores. It is meant to give you a starting point. It is not a product that comes polished and complete. It is a canvas, waiting for new hands to paint upon it. The beauty lies in its openness. Instead of being locked behind corporate budgets, it is open to the curiosity of students and the creativity of developers who have never before had the chance to touch real humanoid platforms. This openness is where the emotional weight rests. For decades, progress in robotics has been shaped by a small circle of institutions. With the R1, that circle widens dramatically. The machine is limited, yes, but in being limited and affordable, it becomes the tool that multiplies innovation. Its weakness is what allows others to build strength upon it. It is a reminder that disruption is not always about perfection. Sometimes disruption is about invitation. The R1 invites the world to play, to experiment, to try, and in trying, to discover what comes next. Robots in public life. The traffic cop. While the R1 waits to be explored inside labs, another humanoid robot has already stepped boldly into public space. In Shanghai, a video captured global attention. A robot, standing firm on a platform in the center of a busy intersection, moved its arms with authority to guide cars and pedestrians. This was not a stunt. Local authorities appear to have placed it there as a real test of robotic assistance in civic life. The image is powerful. A machine taking on the role of a traffic officer, a position built on trust, authority, and public safety. The robot did not wobble or hesitate. Its movements were clean, deliberate, and precise. Watching the footage, it becomes clear that humanoids are no longer confined to labs or private demonstrations. They are beginning to take part in the ordinary rhythm of city life. The symbolism matters as much as the function. A decade ago, humanoid robots stumbled across stages at tech shows. Today, one is standing in the middle of real traffic in one of the world's largest cities. That shift says something profound. These machines are not just entertainment anymore, they are becoming infrastructure. The bigger picture, democratizing robotics. Put these two moments side by side, the R1 in labs, the traffic cop in Shanghai, and a picture begins to form. On one side, accessibility. On the other hand, deployment. One lowers the barrier to experimentation. The other shows society opening itself to robotic integration. The progression follows a pattern we have seen before. At first, a robot is a novelty, a trick, a cartwheel, a viral clip, a showpiece. Then it becomes a prototype, clumsy, but serious. And then, almost without notice, it becomes ordinary. Children grow up with it in classrooms, hospitals, and city streets. What once felt extraordinary becomes background. This is the quiet revolution Unitree is fueling. The R1 is not just affordable hardware, it is a psychological shift. Once you have seen a robot cartwheel in your school gym, the sight of one guiding traffic feels less alien. Once the door is open, it stays open. And as more people step through, the pace of change accelerates. Beyond R1, the L7 and Unix AI arm. The story doesn't stop with Unitree. In another lab, another machine is pushing boundaries. The L7 humanoid robot has been unveiled, and what makes it different is not just the body, but the mind. At its core is the ERA 42 Vision Language Action Model. This means it does more than hear or see. It interprets, it understands, it acts with intent. Picture this. A researcher says, "Move the red cup next to the book." The robot scans the table, identifies the objects, and acts with smooth precision. No scripting, no hesitation, no awkward pause. It behaves as though it truly understands the request. That is the unsettling part. It is no longer just obeying code. It is perceiving and deciding. At the same time, Unix AI has launched something that could redefine robotic dexterity: a fully open-source 8-axis robotic arm. Most arms use 6 or 7 axes. Unix AI's design adds more freedom of movement and embeds intelligence in every joint. Each joint combines drive, sensing, and control into one compact unit. The result is an arm that doesn't just move, but adapts in real time, correcting itself with uncanny smoothness. And here's the radical part: the entire system is open. Anyone can access it, study it, and build with it. Just as Unitree lowers cost barriers, Unix AI lowers access barriers. Together, they form the pieces of a future where intelligence and dexterity merge, and where the tools of that future belong to everyone, not just the few. So here we are, a robot that cartwheels for $5,900, a machine in Shanghai standing in traffic, commanding cars and people with mechanical certainty, a humanoid that seems to understand, not just follow, an open-source arm that moves like a living thing. These are not fragments of science fiction anymore. They are the headlines of this year. The ignition point has arrived, and the cascade is underway. The real question is no longer about possibility. It is about acceptance. How far will we let these machines into our lives? And when they arrive, will we even notice the line we crossed?